We're also bringing a surprising side effect of a common attention deficit drug out in the open. Could it help you lose weight? Tonight, we're bringing out in the open something you've probably never heard about. Soldiers who are risking their lives can gamble and lose everything without ever leaving their military base. The Pentagon runs a casino operation right on overseas bases, raking in more than $100 million a year. In a special CNN investigation, Griffin reveals the tragedy of an Army helicopter pilot trapped by a gambling addiction that turned deadly.
She never saw it coming. Carrie Walsh's husband was an Apache helicopter pilot for the Army. But years ago, Aaron Walsh started playing the slot machines on military posts. He became a gambling addict. At 34, with his life in a tailspin, Aaron Walsh walked into the Maine woods, put a gun to his head, and killed himself.
The military has this culture of taking care of their own, but it seems like when it comes to this, they just, you know, they profited from his addiction and then threw him away.
The military has operated slot machines at overseas posts since the 1980s. The Army alone has 3,000 of them, and they bring $130 million in revenue every year. CNN could not get updated figures from the Air Force or Navy, which run their own gaming operations. The Department of Defense would not allow CNN to take any pictures of them, but this photo appeared in Stars and Stripes just last year. After years of study, University of Illinois business professor John Kindt says the profits on these machines are huge.
It's all about the buck. And in our military, it should be about service to our country. It shouldn't be about exploiting our service personnel and putting their families and their children at risk.
The Pentagon's response to those charges have been by email and phone calls, no interviews. But we were told the Department of Defense needs the revenue from gambling operations to finance its overseas morale, welfare, and recreation programs. The slot machine money goes to things like bowling alleys and concerts, even to attract businesses like Starbucks to overseas posts, things that make living overseas more enjoyable for members of the military. Undersecretary of Defense Leslie Arsht, in a statement to CNN, said gambling on bases and posts provides a controlled alternative to unmonitored host nation gambling venues and offers a higher payment percentage, making it more entertainment-oriented than that found at typical casinos. Kindt says the idea of offering a safe or more gambling-friendly environment than what is found off-base is ridiculous.
And we don't need this. As a matter of fact, it hurts our military readiness. We're already seeing double the addiction rates in the military that we're seeing in the general population.
The Pentagon's own studies suggest the rate is similar to gambling among civilians. But Kindt says people drawn to military life are predisposed to becoming gambling addicts. They're generally young, they take risks, and they're trapped on lonely outposts in front of slot machines.
And he was top of his class in everything.
Aaron Walsh had already gone through one marriage and a suicide attempt after getting hooked on the slots at a post in Germany. After he married Carrie, they were sent to South Korea. Again, Aaron Walsh was lured by the slot machines on base. In 10 months, this father and husband tore through his military paychecks, maxed out his credit cards, even stopped eating to pay for his addiction. When he got into trouble for missing work and was grounded, Carrie Walsh had enough. She left Korea and Aaron. Kindt says the military's gambling operations were reviewed by Congress 7 years ago. What Congress got, he said, was this:
a 13-page report, a real whitewash by the military. Now, why would they be doing that? It's because there's something that they don't want the public to know. There's something that they don't want Congress to know.
The report dismissed the notion that the slot machines fed gambling addictions among the troops. The military did run an addictive gamblers treatment program at Camp Pendleton, and for a time Aaron Walsh was sent there, but he went AWOL. The New York Times profiled Aaron Walsh in the fall of 2005. He was alive, addicted to gambling, and homeless in Las Vegas. A few months after being forced to leave the military because of his addiction problems, Walsh turned up in Maine.
Yeah, he was really, really sad. He knew that he'd lost everything and that, you know, he'd messed up, and he believed that he was going to get better.
And you thought he was going to get better?
Yeah.
But even rural Maine couldn't protect Aaron Walsh from his own addiction. Just an hour north here in Bangor, Maine was opening its first casino, the Hollywood Slots. And it's here, Carrie Walsh says, her husband would place his last bet, the one on his life.
I think he had been doing really well staying away from it, and then I think that he went and had like a gambling binge, and then realized what he had done and decided he wasn't ever going to get better.
Earlier this year, the Pentagon shut down its program at Camp Pendleton, the only inpatient facility for gambling addiction, leaving soldiers like Aaron Walsh to fend for themselves. Drew Griffin, CNN, Bangor, Maine.
Well, did you know that some of the nation's most successful CEOs have one thing in common? They're Mormon.
Have enough to worry about. There are some new concerns about whether the military's policy on gambling is leading some of those troops down the road to addiction. Thousands of slot machines have been set up on U.S. bases worldwide, those proceeds going to support the military. But critics say it's turning its own men and women into gambling addicts in the process. John Kindt is a professor at the University of Illinois. He's been studying this issue for years. And John, you have called the U.S. military a predator of its own people. Should the U.S. military be held responsible when we're talking about consenting adults?
Well, absolutely, because these people are serving their country. We're talking about duty, honor, country here, and they should not be put at risk. It would be similar to drug addiction, and that's what the National Gambling Impact Study Commission refers to these slot machines as the crack cocaine of creating new addicted gamblers.
In fact, you say U.S. troops are predisposed to gambling more so than others. Why?
Well, actually, type A personalities are more predisposed, and this is a common knowledge throughout the psychological and psychiatric community. It's a recognized addictive behavior pursuant to the American Psychiatric Association, and it's in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. And so these people are captured on base. They're a captive audience. They get lonely, and it's really the environment which traps them into playing on these machines.
Professor, how big of a problem is this?
Well, we've had reports over the years throughout the 1990s, and it was about a 2% of the military were addicted, and about 4 to 6% were what we call problem gamblers, that is on their way to becoming addicted. But we expect to see those numbers to continue to rise, and Congressman Roscoe Bartlett asked for a report on this back in the year 2000. They did a report in 2001. It was a 13-page whitewash by the Department of Recreation over at the Pentagon. 13 pages. They didn't even cite to the National Gambling Impact Study Commission, which says that you can expect these numbers to keep going up.
How does that compare to what goes on nationwide in terms of gambling addictions?
Great question. Back 20, 30 years ago, before we had this widespread casino gambling and slots gambling, what we had were about 0.7% of the public. People are going to gamble anyway. They get hooked on gambling. But once you start spreading it around the country and you provide what's called acceptability, which is legalization, the government says this is okay, and then you provide accessibility, which means you put it in everybody's backyard, you expect these numbers to rise. And it's up to about 2% now nationwide, comparable to the numbers I just gave for the military. But we don't know what the actual numbers are in the military, and they should be higher. The reason we don't know is because we're getting these whitewash reports.
And we asked the Pentagon about this. They said they are, quote, committed to ensuring that the program is well managed and responsive to its customers. That said, if and when someone shows signs of gambling addiction, where can they go? What is available to them?
Well, it's my understanding that the Pentagon used to have one counseling center out in California where they could send people for this, but they don't have that anymore. They eliminated it, is my current knowledge on that. And to the best of my knowledge, they don't have anything going on at the Veterans Affairs that deals with this in a substantial way. The point is here, we're talking about the military. We should be protecting our soldiers, not subjecting them to these video gambling machines, which the National Federal Commission on Gambling calls the crack cocaine of creating new addicted gamblers.
And this
is not right to their families either.
And this has been a profitable endeavor, correct?
Oh, it's very profitable for the Recreation Department over at the Pentagon. They get between $100 and $130 million a year that we know about, and we should ask where that money's coming from. It's coming out of the paychecks, it's coming out of the families of our military, it's coming out of the kids in the military. We find around the regular casinos here in the United States that people are spending 25% less on food.
All right, John Kindt, professor at the University of Illinois, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Well, right now, every drop of gas counts. And state inspectors. Well, the U.S. military says it set up thousands of slot machines on overseas bases to provide troops with some fun on their downtime. It's raking in millions a year, but that money comes out of the pockets of our men and women in uniform. John Kindt is a professor at the University of Illinois. He's been studying this issue for years. And John, you hear about the upswing there. It's bringing in money. They can add it back into recreation for the troops. It's something for them to do. But you obviously are very concerned with the perils associated with this.
Absolutely. We haven't had widespread gambling in this country for over 100 years, and we need to ask why the Teddy Roosevelt generation wiped the slate clean. The progressives put into constitutions, state constitutions, no gambling in the state. Why? Because it creates addicted gamblers, bankruptcies, and crime. And now we're doing this on our military bases.
John, what do you say to those who say, you know, these are grown men and women. Why should the military be held responsible if they can't take responsibility for their own actions?
Well, this is just like drug abuse. People have forgotten it's the National Gambling Impact Study Commission compares this addicted gambling to drug abuse. They call these slot machines the crack cocaine of creating new addicted gamblers. I don't think the public knows all about this. The National Gambling Commission has not received the publicity that it's really been due. And so the public is largely ignorant about this, and people on military bases are ignorant about the downside of this. We prohibit alcohol, or we suppress alcohol and smoking on these bases, but they're encouraging people to gamble and get hooked on these machines.
And there are some pretty horrible individual stories that have come out of some of these numbers.
Oh.
I mean, you hear the 2%, that's the number at least that we have right now of men and women who may be addicted to gambling, but there were some pretty, there's been some deadly outcomes.
Yes, we find that once these people get hooked on gambling, and this is straight out of the psychological and psychiatric communities, we find that people that are hooked contemplate suicide. 20% to 30% contemplate suicide, and a substantial number of those, about 10% of those hooked on gambling, actually make a suicide attempt, and unfortunately many of those are successful. In a period of time, there were 13 gambling-related suicides down in the Gulf Coast area after the casinos came there, and these were related to the military bases. So there were 13 gambling-related suicides within about a year and a half, and the bases started to advise families, watch out for all this gambling off base. So we need to look at the gambling off bases as well as on base.
Is there help there for these men and women if they find themselves with an addiction?
The military has been very remiss in providing counseling sessions and just informing people of what this gambling is all about. And the American public really is naive about where this is all going. And so the federal government needs to take another look at this. They took a look at it in 1976-77 when the casinos wanted to come to Atlantic City, and the most recent report was completed in 1999, the Federal Commission on Gambling, and it recommended a moratorium on the expansion of any type of gambling anywhere in the United States, and called for the recriminalization of these slot machines where they're convenient to the public.
All right, Professor John Kindt, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Well, what is the longest you've ever gone without sleep? One?
The U.S. military is taking some heat over the thousands of slot machines it installed in overseas bases. Do they provide recreation or temptation? Should the military be in the gambling business? John Kindt, professor of business and legal policy at the University of Illinois at Champaign-Urbana, has studied this issue. Thanks very much for joining us, Professor.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Talking about these slot machines, you said the military is a predator of its own people. Should the military be in the gambling business?
Well, I think no. Back in 1951, the military had a whole series of scandals involving these types of machines, and they just wiped the slate clean. They just said, you're out of here. Back in 1972, they had people skimming off of these machines, and again, the Army and the Air Force eliminated these machines. The Marines and the Navy kept them, but basically, these are known as the crack cocaine of creating new addicted gamblers. We shouldn't be putting these in front of our military when they're trapped on these bases and they're lonely.
Well, let me tell you what the military has to say. These slot machines pull in over $100 million a year. They help morale, says the military. The proceeds are used to support other recreation programs like swimming pools and movie theaters. What would you say to that?
Chump change. You can buy, I mean, this is the same Pentagon that spends $75 for a hammer. They can spend a few bucks for recreation for the troops. And they don't need to be training, for example, an Apache pilot who committed suicide after becoming hooked on gambling. How many hundreds of thousands of dollars did they spend training this person? And he gets hooked on gambling on the base and then commits suicide.
Others will argue, frankly, that
if you're
going to gamble, you're going to gamble. If you have an addictive personality, you're going to find a way to do it. In fact, these guys, who they say, would play poker or card games for money, and it would have the exact same effect.
That's different. Card games, poker. I mean, the military, you're always going to find gambling in the military. We're talking about video gambling machines where many times you put in your money and you've lost before you even put in your money. And people need to ask if they're fair. I mean, people throughout the country need to ask if they're fair, if they're being treated fairly on these odds on these machines.
Well, at least I don't know, but I've read that they're about the same as the odds in Vegas.
Well, people need to ask what the monitoring is that's going on these machines, and I think they will be very surprised when they start looking to see if these machines are fair. People are losing $80 billion a year in this country, and 90% of that's coming out of these machines. Now, why are people losing that much money? They're wagering more than about 3 times the amount that they're spending on groceries in this country is being wagered in these gambling establishments. The National Commission called for a moratorium on the expansion of any gambling anywhere in the United States. And as we approach Memorial Day, let me tell you how patriotic the gambling industry is. After the 9/11 terrorist attacks, the gambling industry went into Congress and got a $40 billion tax write-off for slot machines and related electronic equipment. And they were asking for $133 billion.
Well, it was a surprise to me when I read about this. Professor Kindt, thanks so much. We appreciate your expertise.
Thanks for having me.
Just 25 days after a tanker